Ninja.
So as you guys probably remember on the last episode, we finally received our second R34 GTT, not GTR. I was super excited about that, super excited to share that whole journey with you guys. But now it's about time to work out any kind of tiny kinks and all that stuff that I had with the car. First of all, I started by rolling the rear guards, quarter panels, whatever you want to call it, simply because I drove this car around the block in that first video and the thing just rubbed non-stop in the rear and it was absolutely undrivable. It literally was just melting the tires. So I looked and honestly it was just a stock guard that's never been rolled with some really low offset wheels that I don't really like anyways, but I just want to deal with them for now. So I borrowed my friend's fender roller and I pulled the guard super aggressively. I wasn't really worried too much about cracking the paint since either way we're going to be changing these to the GTR quarter panels, which are about 1 inch to 2 wider. But it totally solved my problem. Also off video, if you guys remember, I got this car with a front flat tire and the front 2 tires weren't matching. So I did actually go ahead and buy 2 255 35s and have those mounted. So it's on matching wheels instead of having like the rays in the front and these wheels on the back. Then I finally gave the car a good wash because this thing literally has been sitting since September of last year, basically in my friend's shop who I bought it from. So it's like absolutely everything was dusty, the interior, the exterior, the engine bay, everything. So I decided to, you know, wash it, see the nice black paint. And then I haven't exactly been having cooling issues because the stock sender unit for the coolant isn't really too accurate, but I decided to finally install an AEM cooling gauge because I just wanted that to be one of my first mods because it's obviously really good to know your AFR, your coolant temperature, and your oil temperature as well. Just things to watch out, you know, make sure the car is running good. So I definitely wanted to get that done. And right here I started taking off the upper hose and I basically cut it in half to mount the adapter plate, which I show in the next clip. So as you can see, kind of had to sandwich, which is usually what you do. That's why it's called like a sandwich adapter. You cut up the coolant hose and you kind of just fit that in there, and then that mounts the sensor. Now there's this sensor is for, it's not plugged in, I actually broke it, ignore that. This sensor is for the coolant gauge on the dashboard, and then underneath is the coolant gauge for the ECU. The ECU one is important because it adjusts the fuel map based on how hot or cold the motor is. This is totally separate, its own sensor to just the gauge. And yeah, I haven't checked for leaks. I'm gonna fill the rest with distilled water, since either way I'm gonna switch this to full distilled water with water wetter eventually, because it just never freezes here ever, even in the winter. So it's just better to run water because it runs like 10 degrees cooler in water. And I just, for the power and ground, I literally just took the power off. This car already has an air-fuel ratio gauge in it that's AEM also. I literally used electrical tape to hold the two together for now, because this is just for now. I will buy like a little metal plate to cut out and, like, you know, firmly mount them down there. But you see, when I give it power, there you go. And it's so hot right now. It's 104 degrees right now, air temperature or something like that. So the coolant actually already at 102. If it's under 100, this won't read at all. And then obviously the airflow won't give any rating until the car is running. But yeah, that should really help my I don't know, I just want to see if the fan that it has right now is enough. I do want to build a shroud, or I realize the clutch fan, I can just take it off of that car, which I've been doing quite a bit so far with this car. It's just taking parts off of that one, but I don't want to do it too much, but I don't know. But I definitely needed the coolant gauge just because RBs tend to run pretty hot, and in New Jersey I had an RB20 in my S14, and I had this gauge in it too, and I just had I had a radiator fan on a switch, so if I saw that it got too hot, I would just flip it on. Obviously, I know there's much smarter ways to do that. You can actually have like a little probe that senses heat, and then it sends the switch power to turn on the fan when it gets hot, so you don't have to worry about that, but this is just what I'm doing for now. Sorry, I was blasting the heat. Turn that on. That gauge last night, as you saw in the last clip. Basically, I found out that the cooling system is not adequate at all, especially for this weather. It is literally 112 degrees while I'm filming this right now. So what I did was I took the OEM clutch fan off of this car and the OEM shroud. Now the radiator, the Mishimoto radiator that's in this car, luckily it's set up to accept the OEM shroud. And before, it just had one like 12-inch eBay electric fan with no shrouding at all. And then I also took the air conditioning condenser fan off of this car and put it on that car because the AC does actually work in this. And the main reason it wouldn't work at stoplights was because it had no fan to start pushing air through the condenser when it was on. So I'm hoping this solves it. I'm also going to be switching to distilled water with water wetter, no coolant or anything. So I know just switching to water, you can get it another 10 degrees lower. This state, it never freezes or anything, so it's not important at all to run coolant here. So guys, I put the stock radiator back in, or I'm sorry, I put the Mishimoto radiator back in with the OEM shroud bolted up. You know, screwed everything back together. I kind of had to use the OEM Nissan hose on the top, the radiator hose, to get the setup complete. But yeah, bolted everything back up. My friend Andrew, like I said, he gave me this funnel, which is really good for bleeding. So basically, I ended up deciding to do LED taillights. Those are the ones that I got, all part of the palette for that car. But that's not really a big deal because I could just put the OEM ones on that, etc., etc. But yeah, you can kind of see the difference. Those are like really dark, and those are really pinkish. So they're actually supposed to be red. It's just, I guess they're a little bit faded from the sun where they look a bit more pink. I actually like it though, because I was actually going to buy VHC spray, and then Rachel's like, why don't you just put them on the car to see before you spray them? And like, if the car was any other color, I wouldn't really like it, but the pink lighterness of them, the more like chromey look, I actually kind of like it because I've never really seen it before. And I do like it, but you know, worst case scenario, I can always go back. Compared to this, which is like rather boring. I don't know, just my personal opinion. So I'm going to take that off now and show you guys how to swap over to the LED taillight, which is basically just a million screws behind to get this black cover off, and then you put the cover back on over the other taillight unit and put it all back together. Because as I already mentioned, the covers differentiate by the GTR and the GTT. The GTR is wider right here. I do have another 2 sets of GTR covers since both of these cars are going to get the GTR quarter panels. So So guys, that's probably going to be it for this video. I just wanted a video where I kind of compiled a bunch of little things that I've been doing to the car, which this kind of have. The next phase, I think I'm probably going to just finish the GTR front end by doing the fenders, the side skirts, and then putting the lips on the front end. Now, I don't know if the next video is going to entail wrapping / painting them. I still haven't decided if it's easier just to take this paint into a paint store and have them match it, and then me try to just spray it and match it, or if it's easier just to take like a basic gloss black 3M wrap and wrap all the parts. I haven't really decided. I know the car's probably not gonna, if I keep it long enough, I know this car's not gonna stay black. I kind of want like a Bayside blue or something. Like R34s look better as a brighter color, and this one's Millennium Jade, which is a kind of brightish color, but I really like Bayside blue, so it'd be nice to have, you know, both for contrast. But anyways, that's definitely what's gonna happen on the next video. I've just been kind of like, as you saw, it's not really that interesting, but I've just been dialing the car, making sure that I can get in it, drive it, the air conditioning works, everything works, even in this insane heat. Because it's literally over 105 every single day here, and it's a good sign that this thing doesn't overheat here now anymore, because if it can stand here, it can stand anywhere in the world almost. So that's going to be the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys are excited. For the black car, honestly speaking, it's just so hot, and all I have to really do is mount panels and paint prep them, but just sanding stuff in this heat is horrible. So we'll see. I'm still missing a hood for this car. I've been really trying to get the Z-Tune style vented hood, but every single place, C-Bond carbon fiber, Rocket Z in Canada, like all these distributors that have or make their own replica version of the Z-Tune hood, they're all like 2 to 4 months in advance, like wait period, and it sucks because I'm like ready to buy 2. So if any of you guys know anybody that has these, preferably in America or Canada, just because if it's outside of America, it's probably going to take longer than a month to ship anyway with the coronavirus going on, because border customs is slowed down a ton right now. But literally, if I had a hood, like I could just put this thing together and drive this one too, for the most part. I'd have to replace all the parts that I took off of this and put on that, but that's not really expensive. I really like that car. It just needs suspension, because it handles like crap, because it's all bone stock and the coilovers are shot, and this car has every single bushing, every single adjustable arm, and good coils. So I really don't want to. I don't know if it'll happen. You can let me know your opinion, but I was actually thinking of just taking the rear end off this car and putting it on that car, kind of swapping them around, because this rear end has an LSD and all the bushings are good and its hike is deleted, and taking these coils too. But I don't want to use this car as a parts car, like I really don't, because it's like, you know, so much effort to make this run and drive just to take it all apart for another car. You know, it's a little bit silly, although that is, factually speaking, that is the way better car, because everything works on it. It's all like every single piece is there, etc, etc. But I'm not going to talk any longer. Comment down below what you want to see, etc. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.